So originally I was going to do a first impressions video of Cyberpunk after about like 4 to 5 hours of gameplay, just to kind of talk about my initial thoughts. However, that turned into 30 hours of gameplay and me actually finishing the game. Yeah, I didn't plan for that. And honestly, the main reason that happened was because the story for me was just so good and I presented so well and it kept me intrigued the entire time. So, like I said, after 30 hours of playtime, I finished the game in its entirety, at least the main portion. I definitely haven't finished the whole game yet. And for this video in particular, I don't plan on doing a full script and the whole shebang like I've done in the past with video game reviews. I plan to keep this one definitely shorter and a little more concise. Also, I'm not going to do like a story breakdown or anything like that. I don't even really want to talk about the story because I want you to eventually experience it blind. Like, I think you should, because I mean the story is fantastic. But I mean, everything I'm going to say today is for the most part just kind of be off the dome. I mean, I do have a script that I am going to sort of follow. I just want to kind of give my thoughts as I think them up, you know, just little impromptu. This game has definitely seen its share of issues, I guess is probably a good way to put it. Just right off the bat, I mean, last gen consoles, I don't know what happened there. I mean, they flat out, I mean, the game literally just doesn't work on like the old PS4 and like the VCR Xbox One. In fact, it ran so poorly that PlayStation actually delisted the game entirely from the store. And this is like the first game where PlayStation's ever really done anything like that. All this really did was just leave a ton of questions. Like how did this game get through testing? Not only through QA testing at the developer themselves, but like PlayStation and Sony like testing the game before it even goes to the store and actually like passing it. So I'm pretty sure for a game to actually get on the store, Sony has to play it and approve it to be listed. I mean, they're not just gonna let anything go up all willy-nilly. CDPR deliberately didn't let console codes go out whenever the game was initially being reviewed because they knew that this game wasn't ready for consoles. Yet they still released it on consoles. And it looked like this. On consoles. I mean, the only thing I can really assume was that CD Projekt Red was pushed by investors to get this game out as quickly as possible, and probably before the end of 2020 was what the investors wanted. So although there was still a lot of stuff that needed to be finished with this game, they flat out just couldn't do it because the people at the top with the money said no. Anyways, enough about the problems. I mean, they've been said plenty of times in plenty of videos and streams and I mean pretty much everywhere. So everyone knows what happened. If you have a high-ish NPC and you're able to get this game to run, it's honestly a great story-driven single-player experience. I would even go as far as to say it's one of the better single-player experiences I've had in a long time, at least from a story standpoint. I do want to throw out a short disclaimer. I only have 30 hours into the game. Yeah, only. And I definitely haven't done everything. Like, really, like, there's no way I've done everything. I still have a bunch of side questing gigs and stuff like that I still have to do. So there's a lot left. I do plan to eventually go back and do more playthroughs when the game is a little more polished and has had a few patches done. There's still a lot of work left to do on CDPR's end for that. So I'm certainly waiting, and I'm excited to get back into the game, frankly, and I want the game to be great. And so for those reasons, I plan to wait. Like I said before, I'm not going to be doing any story breakdowns in this video. I'm not even really going to touch on the story. I'm not going to spoil any major plot points because I want you guys to experience it blind, seriously. I am going to have to mention a character or two. I'm going to keep it as spoiler-free as I can. So if you don't want anything spoiled for you, I definitely recommend go play the game. Drop a sub to the channel, come back when you've completed the game, see my thoughts, and we can, of course, always talk in the comments down below. Okay, so what was actually good about the game? Like I mentioned before, the characters in this game are amazing. I really felt a true connection with a lot of the characters. I really got invested in the story. I got invested in wanting the best in some of these characters and really wanting to help them. I mean, the characters in the story are the strongest asset this game has. I mean, especially in the technical state that it launched in. I ended up playing the Corpo path for my first playthrough and even did a Nomad path, at least for like the first 4 or 5 hours, on a completely separate character. I didn't really progress too far into that character. I just wanted to see what the opening sequence was like in another life path. And even though I only played the opening sequence in the Nomad path, it was vastly different from the Corpo path. And I really saw the potential that this game is going to have for replayability in just like the first 4 or 5 hours of the game. It really made me curious to see what these different life paths are going to play out like, and I really do want to go back in and try out these other paths and see how vastly different these stories are. There's a lot of just surprises and really unique quests, not only in the main quest, but also the side quest. Whenever I would play one side quest, I immediately wanted to go into another, and I didn't even want to progress the main story for a while because I was just so involved in the world, and I, again, built such a connection with the characters that I wanted to see what happened. There's also a lot of surprises and hidden stuff in the game that made me just go like, whoa, like it's quite the experience when it works. It's honestly such a shame because this game doesn't work for a huge portion of the people trying to play it. And when it does work properly and you do have a system that can run it, there's just an uncountable amount of bugs and a lot of immersion breaking stuff at times. And don't get me wrong, a lot of these bugs are just minor visual glitches, and most of the time they even made me laugh and I was just easily able to brush it off. But I would be lying if I said there wasn't a couple bugs that I ran into that just completely pulled me out of the story entirely. I do have to mention at least one character in the game to kind of give just a little bit of context to some of the immersion breaking bugs that I ran into. The character I will mention, her name is Rogue. Not going to go into detail about her character or anything with her story or anything with, you know, anyone associated with her. One of the bugs that I did run into with her was a particular side mission that she sends you on. You actually go with her and you're trying to find some, I guess, data, we'll say. You fight through this whole area and you go through this whole sequence and you eventually get to the main character you're looking for. And there's a sequence where you're talking to this character, I guess essentially interrogating them, and Rogue is supposed to be standing next to you and talking with them, but she's like, at least in my playthrough, she was standing like 20 feet away and like nowhere near the conversation, but she was still talking, and so you could like barely hear what she was saying, but the character in front of you is talking to her even though she's like 20 feet away. The whole thing just was completely like messed up and just ended up making me laugh, and I really didn't pay attention to the conversation because she's literally all the way over there. Like, I'm pretty sure I stared at her for like 5 minutes after the conversation ended, and she just did not move from that spot. Even when I like left the area and came back, she was still there. Throughout the conversations in this game, characters will oftentimes try and continue a conversation if you're not engaging in the dialogue right away. So, for example, like if I'm talking to someone and they say something and then I don't respond after a while, they're like, hey man, are you there? Or like, yo dude, like, what are you doing?
We're waiting for a client.
You good? Well, there's an instance where you're talking with Rogue and she essentially does this in the conversation. So you don't say something for a while. She says like, pick it up, okay? Or like, you're wasting my time. Like, those are the two common ones she would say. And so, like, that's fine. That's cool, right? Like, she says that, like, whatever. It's kind of annoying, but I mean, I just continue the conversation. However, in this particular mission I was playing with her in, she would not shut up. Literally the whole mission. Like, in important cutscenes, like in cutscenes within the mission, she would still say it. There was one instance where we were in an elevator. Nothing was happening. Nobody was talking. And she just randomly says it. And then, like, towards the end of the mission, a very important cutscene, like the most important cutscene in that mission happens. You're punching some guy out, like, very violently. And as she's picking you up, she literally says,
"You're wasting my time."
That, like, it doesn't make sense. She also had some visual bugs, too, when we were in the elevator part. She learned how to slide and teleport without like moving her feet. That was pretty dope. I mean, this also happened with some other characters too, not just Rogue. Yeah, I mean, it's 2077, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is like the new way to like transport someone's like body to another area that I just don't like. Maybe it's just above our time. There was also a bug with a particular boss fight, or one of the boss fights in the game. It wasn't the only boss fight, where the boss literally just he just didn't move. I mean, it was probably the most challenging boss fight I've ever had. I mean, for a boss that just doesn't fight back and just lets you kill them just right away, like, it really just made me think about, like, maybe this was meant to be. Maybe this wasn't a bug. Maybe this is a developer trying to tell us something about, like, the underlying truths of boss battles and, like, what the point is of them in video games. Like, there's probably a deeper meaning, or there just wasn't, like, any bug testing. That's probably the latter. There was also a side quest I did where I spent about 45 minutes and reloaded the save a few times because there was a certain point where I was supposed to kind of investigate, and there was like an indication that I was supposed to investigate this part in the mission, and it just flat out wouldn't let me. And so after reloading the save and doing it a couple more times, Still had the same issue. It didn't really like fix itself. And then I found out like it really wasn't a bug, and I was just stupid and not looking at the right area to continue the quest. My point is, this game needs a lot of work. I really want to start another character. Like I really want to continue my Nomad playthrough that I started, but there's just so much polish that's left to be put on this game, and there's still a lot left that just needs to be fixed. And I mean, with PlayStation literally delisting it, I mean, it just proves my point to myself that this game needs more time. Hell, I would go as so far to say that this game probably could have used another year of development. Like literally another year, just to make sure the game is polished and ready. Like there's so much that was still left to be done and left to be fixed. Like it blows my mind that they were trying to release this game in April originally. Like I really don't want to know what that game looked like. Like if they released this in April, like I can't even think about it. I just can't. I mean, ultimately, once this game is reasonably playable, I would recommend you check it out. It's honestly just a shame that it launched this way on the PC as well. I mean, not even considering the consoles. I mean, the PC had its fair share of bugs. There is some serious Game of the Year material, just with the stories and the characters alone. And it's just, it makes me upset. Like, the real technical aspects of this game just drag down the credibility of CD Projekt Red, and it's just, what was once a beloved developer is now just tarnished by this release. I mean, they really not only messed up the release, but messed up the PR around it. They messed up the delivery. I mean, everything about it is just, like, disgusting. I'm really, really hoping that sometime in 2021, I can come back, sit back down in this chair, and tell you that Cyberpunk 2077 is a good, solid game. Because I really think if they put out some more patches and they really tweak it, they can make it a great experience. Like CDPR, if you're listening to this, I mean, I doubt you are, but if you are listening to this, like, seriously put some time into this game. You're not going to completely be able to undo what you did with launch, but at the very least, you could fix the game up and give us something good. Like, just give us a decent product. Like, if you fix this game up, I seriously think this is going to be one of the best single-player games ever. Like, genuinely, one of the best. Like, I'm talking, like, up there with Fallout New Vegas. And, like, Fallout New Vegas, that's a game. That's a video game right there. If you liked the video, drop a like on it. Also, subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Hit that notification bell as well to know when I post videos. I definitely have some cool stuff planned for this year, so you won't want to miss it, I promise you. You can also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/MrJKHeath. I stream there every Wednesday and Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here's the 2021. I'm super excited for this year. I hope you are too. Until next time, I mean, I think you know where this is going. Like, I really think you know this. Never stop. Just never stop.